Hey, you folks, Quilly18 here, and I did not see this coming, but there is a new patch for Sid Meier's Civilization 5 that just came out today on October 27th, 2014. This is patch 1.0.3.276. I did not realize we had one of these coming, and it's actually really nice to see the game still getting some support. Of course, the game will not look like this for you. I am running a DLC mod to change the user interface, but hey, there we go. So a lot of it is little bug fixes, a lot of it for multiplayer specifically, but there are a couple of relatively significant balance patches. Well, or balance changes, but they're like little, but they're big at the same time. It's hard to say. It's not going to affect the average player. This is mostly like tiny little balance changes that are going to come into play, mostly at the highest levels, I would say. In particular, one of it is that tradition has been nerfed. Tradition is considered to be one of the strongest social policies to start off with, especially at the higher levels of play. And it has been nerfed, and it's a very simple one. Oligarchy is now a prerequisite for legalism, which means that not only do you need 3 social policies in total, one to unlock tradition, one to get oligarchy, and another one to get legalism before you get your free monument, but it now takes you at least 4 to get to landed elite. So just one extra step, but that's quite a delay. That's a delay in the extra culture and then delay in the extra food. And the fact that your culture is delayed impacts your, your food and everything down the chain. Now, this probably only delays legalism by something like 20 or 30 turns or something like that, which means, you're going to be a little bit later with your first monument. And the monument is only 2 cultures. So at most, it's going to be maybe something like 60 or 70 or 80 or maybe 100 culture you lose over the course of the entire game. And later on, your social policies are costing, thousands, like a couple of thousand culture per point. So how much of an actual impact it has in the long run, I don't know, but it's definitely a nerf, and that's really interesting to see at this point. It'll be really interesting to see if people decide that even if they're going tradition, they might build a monument, and then they can get an amphitheater for free. Or they might not decide to go tradition anymore. They might move over to liberty. Now, part of the bonus to tradition is being able to faith buy great engineers later on, which is really good. The free aqueducts, the 15% growth, all amazing. Yeah, you get a free great person with liberty, which ain't bad, but the bonuses for completing tradition are still good. I suspect tradition will still prove to be quite popular, and so nerfing it slightly is probably okay. The other thing that happened is that piety got a boost in that I think you used to need Mandate of Heaven to get Reformation, so now you don't. Now it's only 3 social policies, well 4 with the opener, to get to Reformation, which might make Piety a little bit more tempting. I think it's still a poor first pick. Like, I don't think the Piety opener is that good. But it makes religious/piety runs maybe a little bit more appealing, just to get that Reformation bonus. We'll see how it goes. I did not realize I had my Skype unmuted. My apologies to anyone who just got woken up by that. So that's one of the changes. It's pretty big. Another one is that the warmonger penalty for like taking cities and stuff like that, which gives you a penalty in diplomacy, has been nerfed somewhat in that you'll only get 50% warmonger during the ancient era. And as you go forward in eras, it's going to go up and up and up. Apparently, by the time you get to the industrial era, you'll get 90% of it. And then from modern era on, you'll get the full 100% warmonger penalties as you conquer cities. You also get only half warmonger for taking city-states, which is a pretty big deal. So it opens up a lot more opportunity to do a little bit of early conquest without screwing your diplomacy completely, which I think ironically makes this a buff for non-warmongers. Like if you're going for a domination victory, at some point you're going to upset everyone no matter what. But if you're going for a more like peaceful builder kind of tech, you could afford to war a little bit more early on before you settle down into culture or the spacecraft victory or something, which is interesting. And then finally, and this is actually the one that I'm most excited for, even though I don't think it'll have a true balance impact on the game. There are 2 resources from the Conquest Deluxe scenario that have been implemented in the main game. You can now find cocoa and bison in the main game. And for some reason that excites me a lot. I don't know why. I think cocoa is a luxury resource, and I think bison is going to be very much like sheep or cattle. And I don't think that's going to result in more resources. I think that's just going to, replace, and sometimes instead of getting incense, you'll just get cocoa or something like that. But I don't know, for some reason it makes the game slightly more interesting. And actually, it gives you a little bit more stuff to potentially trade in diplomacy. And I think that's a very good thing, actually. So all in all, very excited about this patch. Certainly if you play multiplayer, there's a crap ton of changes and fixes there that will hopefully improve things, including some exploits. So we're looking forward to playing with this patch in the future, and I'll see you guys next time.